Welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry. So, where we last left off, you know, Ballard, went at Leroy Jenkins and exited out of the boiler room thinking he can find the fucking culprit, but didn't work out. And then, afterwards, the smell coming from the boiler room was from the main cause, which was, a corpse just getting burnt. And, you know, it was Kinzo. Kinzo got, staked in the forehead and got burnt. Then Kanon, you know, saying like, he's still quote unquote alive, but the weapon of the ice pick of a weapon pierced him so much to the point that he already died anyway. Just considering the seq the, the sequence of the transition to the next chapter in the story. Yeah, they got no choice or any sort of safety going on but to hole up in the study room where Kinzo would always be in. So right here, I stopped at the though. Oh, I proposed that strange theory, but I'm going to read it anyway. A while back, I proposed that strange theory as a stopgap measure. But just as Aunt Eva said, even though that trick would be possible, I couldn't explain what motive could have made Grandfather sneak out of his own study in such a troublesome way. Are you fucking serious? There's no way Kenzo would just hide under the bed. Like I feel like his quote unquote strange theory. It's not even a strange theory. I think it's a silly theory. Plus, grandfather couldn't even have used that trick unless he knew that the receipt was wedged in the door. Aunt Eva hadn't pointed out that last part, but it's clear how absurd the theory was. So does that mean the sealed door formed a closed room just as Aunt Eva claimed? Is it an undeniable fact that Aunt Natsuki was the culprit? Well, who knows? If Aunt Eva were here now, she'd probably make that claim openly and blow my strange theory away. But anyway, I had to admit that the room was both a bed and a toilet that all 8 people could be shut up in, and with only 2 keys, both of which were gathered here, had to be the safest place in the mansion right now. At the very least, I figured this would be better than just staying shut up in the parlor and hoping nothing would go wrong. But wait, have we been safe only because we've been shut up in the parlor? What if leaving that room and moving to an unexplored location is actually more dangerous? It's useless. It's useless. It's all useless. My flimsy head is about to break out in a fever. If I keep spinning the chessboard around, right and wrong will keep switching places over and over, and I won't be able to believe anything. When it seems like the culprit is one of the 18, I want to believe in Beatrice. And once I start believing in Beatrice, I start wanting to find the culprit amid the 18. If that keeps spinning around forever, in the end, my thoughts won't have taken one step from where they started. Well, make up your mind. How far past, how far back in the past was it that Kairi-san taught me about chessboard thinking? That concept of examining the situation by spinning it around and thinking from the enemy's side. I seem to remember being so interested by it back then. I used it to guide all my thinking. By the way, Kairi-san was Dad's coworker back then. I never dreamed that she'd someday be added to our family. Interesting. Didn't Kairi-san tell me something once? I get the feeling she once said that. While this chessboard thinking was one way to look at things, it certainly wasn't all powerful, and it wouldn't be good to rely on it too much.
チェス盤思考ってのはね、昔本で読んだゲーム理論というものを私なりに解釈したものよ。とても面白い学問だから、バトラ君も大学に入ったら挑戦してみるといいわよ。
ぜひやってみたいっす。それを勉強してチェス盤思考をもっと鍛えたら、どんな相手の手の内も読めるみたいで楽しいじゃないっすか。
でもね、盲信しちゃダメよ。ゲーム理論は非常に奥深く複雑な学問なの。チェス盤思考はその上辺だけを私なりに解釈した考え方に過ぎない。バトラ君が想像するほどに相手の手の内を読み切るには相当の勉強が必要よ。しかもチェス盤理論は応用の利く便利なものではあっても完璧ではない。便利ではあっても弱点が多い。
弱点？
ええ。チェス盤思考の基礎はゲーム理論。ゲーム理論は突き詰めると数学に行き着くの。数学の弱点は何か知ってる？ノイズよ。
Noise. In math, when you write 1 plus 1 equals 2, that process will always result in 1 plus 1 equals 2 no matter how many billions of years pass. Nothing more, nothing less. That's because there's absolutely no noise mixed in. But, for example, unlike math, the Japanese language has noise mixed in. Kanji are a good example. Old kanji and new kanji are slightly different, which represents an introduction of noise created by the changes between time periods. Isn't history the same? There are dozens of policies that seem foolish in the modern era, but were meaningful at some point in the past. Because the rules of chess are fixed. When a pair of experts are discussing one particular layout, it's possible they could reach the same conclusions whether they're from 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future. However, if the rules of chess had gone through massive changes over time, it's possible that a discussion about the same layout would have changed as well.
その通り。人の世の事象は本来ノイズだらけなのよ。人の感情だってそうでしょ？全く同じことが起こったからといって人は必ず決められた反応を示すとは限らない。それを数学の理論で当てはめ相手の行動を読もうとする時点ですでに理論には弱点と限界があることを知らなければならない。手っ取り早く言うとチェス盤思考はノイズや気まぐれ、そして誤解、認識ミスに非常に弱いの。
That's right. Kairi-san definitely said that. Chess has always been a game where both sides play by the same rules and fight with the same conditions for victory. That's why it's possible for both sides to predict the other's moves. It's possible to read your opponent because you can always suppose they'll make the best moves they can find. But what if your opponent is fickle or a bit tired and makes a move that can hardly be called the best? Or what if this game actually has a special rule, some unknown thing that only the enemy knows about and can use? In fact, what if the opponent actually has some goal other than victory? Think from your enemy's perspective. That's the basis of chessboard thinking. Which means if you misread your enemy, the answer you draw from this process will be complete rubbish, useless. So far, I've used chessboard theory to guess several vague bits of information about the culprit hiding behind this case, or so I think. However, I don't know anything about the culprit. Am I just playing around in a labyrinth of thought? Well, if Kairi-san were here at a time like this, she'd probably be able to notice something with her much sharper thinking ability. I mean, well, too late now. Until the very last moment, Jessica resisted moving into grandfather's study. But in the end, Aunt Natsuki persisted, and we decided to move there. Everyone was completely wrapped in paranoia by now. Kumasawa-san had prepared dinner at one point, but during the time we were discovering the deaths of George Aniki's parents, both the kitchen and the parlor had been left empty. Someone suggested that the food might have been poisoned while we were gone. Because of that, we were unable to even touch the food that Kumasawa-san had taken the trouble to make for us. The manner in which the first six were killed was still unknown, but it certainly would have been poison. But it certainly could have been poison. Certainly, that would allow even a single person to carry out the murder of 6 large adults. Furthermore, this idea made it easy to imagine there being only a single culprit. One would be afraid of Aunt Natsuki's rifle, and this was very good for our emotional stability. But the fatigue and hunger were even harsher than we had imagined. Then Kumasawa-san made a proposal, and we all went together to the kitchen. There, we gathered some canned food and other things that'd be hard to poison to take in with us. All of Kumasawa-san's efforts to reward us with just a little dinner on this savage day regrettably came to nothing. The food piled up on the serving cart looked just a little sad. We all started climbing the stairs. Aunt Natsuki, who was in the lead, warily stared into the darkness with both eyes at the barrel of the gun. Once we dragged ourselves up to the 3rd floor, just as Aunt Natsuki had warned us of beforehand. There was a mixture of a chemical smell and a sickly sweet aroma, a stench hanging in the air that felt like it was eating into our heads.
なるほど。こりゃ一晩もこもったら頭痛にでもなりそうな匂いだな。今更ながら、じい様の書斎に反対したジェシカに賛成だぜ。
I'm pretty sure it's six versus 2. It felt like the stench was floating out from this magnificent door. It was the door to the forbidden study, which should defend against any who would enter. While Genji-san unlocked the door, Maria stared at the door and the doorknob with great interest.
Oh,
She has this stare of interest.
すごいドア。
I mean, it's just a door.
古くいかめしくて冗談の通じなさそうな、いかにもじい様の書斎にふさわしい扉だよな。
霊的な悪意を退ける力がとても強く込められている。多分ベアトリーチェはこの扉を開けられないね。
お？
Yeah, but how the fuck did Kinzo got dragged out? If you think the door is fucking strong enough.
それどういうことだよ。
Unless the window sort of counts. And then Maria pointed at the doorknob. A scorpion crest. No, a design like a magic circle arranged around a scorpion was inscribed there. That design. That's right. Isn't it just like those keychain charms Maria gave Jessica and me yesterday?
火星の5の魔法陣は強力な魔除け。 しかもこの魔法陣は相当丹念に作られていて、力がよく満ちている。魔の者であるベアトリーチェにとって、この魔法陣はとても厄介だろうね。
それは心強いじゃねえか。この部屋ならベアトリーチェの魔種から逃げられるってことだろ。うちの魔女様は実に頼もしいぜ。
ならベアトリーチェはどうやって中のおじい様を？
I could say it's the window, but I'm pretty sure Kinzo isn't this stupid to walk out of the study room.
バトラが推理した通りだよ。ベアトリーチェは中に入れない。でも彼女には魔法があるし、使い魔だっている。それらを使って、おじい様が自分から書斎を出てくるように仕向けることはできるかも。
So Beatrice isn't that stupid. She just used some bullshit magic, and she has like familiars that serve her. Well then. Well, there you go. Problem solved. Now Battler can stop being a dumbass. You would think the window in the study room would be the thing where, like, you know, they just drag him out from behind, but I don't know, man. Shit.
ああ、漫画で読んだな。吸血鬼は十字架が怖くて近づけねえけど、使い魔たちはへっちゃらなんで、使い魔に襲わせるみたいなシーンを読んだことがあるぜ。
バトラたちに昨日あげたサソリのキーホルダーのようなお守りも、この火星の5の魔法陣だよ。込められている力は微々たるものだけど、この島を出るまでの間を守ってくれるだけなら十分だった。なくしちゃったそうだけどね。
Yeah, because Battler's a fucking retard.
サソリのキーホルダーのお守り？
ああ、その。
Once again, Battler is just so overconfident, it just annoys the shit out of me. Oh my god.
昨日私が母さんに渡したお守りはマリアにもらったものだったんだよ。ドアノブにかけると魔除けになるとか言われて、私より母さんの方がいいかなってあの時は思って。
そうでしたか。ジェシカにしては変わったものを持っていると思っていました。
夏日おばさんがあれを？ドアノブに？
ええ。夕べそう聞き、寝る前に扉の内側のドアノブにかけました。
Yeah, why is that? Why are you asking that, Maria?
なら、夏日おばさんはとても幸運だよ。そうだったなら夕べ、ベアトリーチェは夏日おばさんに指一本触れられなかっただろうね。ベアトリーチェはさぞや悔しがったと思うよ。
Maria just straight up taunting Natsuki. Beatrice, annoyed? Couldn't lay one finger? Natsuki thought back on that eerie scribble she'd seen that morning, as though someone had been tearing at the outside of her door with blood-soaked hands, and gasped in surprise. Could it be that this witch who called herself Beatrice tried to enter through the door to Natsuki's own room? but the magic repelling charm had been hanging from the inside, so she couldn't break through the door. So she was annoyed. So she scratched at it?
よせよ、そういう話。魔女なんかいないぜ。いるのは犯人。それも私たちと同じ人間だ。
Yeah, okay. Then how do you explain that not everyone is stupid enough for Eva and Hideyoshi to answer the fucking door then?
それを確かめる必要があるってなら、八つ先にして血が赤いかも確認してやろうじゃねえか。
Oh my god.
くそ。くそ。よくもカノン君を。
I don't know, Jessica. Why don't you ask Beatrice yourself? Oh wait, you don't. You think witches don't exist? Never mind. Jessica, you're gonna get karma bitten in the ass. Karma's gonna bite you in the ass. And I'm not I didn't get spoiled, so I'm not. I'm just assuming that like this is just gonna happen later on. Click goes the door. Genji unlocked the door. 8 people entered Kinzo's study. Alright, finally. Progress. Within 22 minutes. Grandfather's study. I'd heard rumors about it beforehand, so I wasn't that shocked. He had done nothing more than fortify it thoroughly with his occult hobbies. If grandfather's hobby had been chasing after pop idols, these walls might be buried beneath idol posters. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Even if I didn't understand it, I did realize that this room was a bundle of all his pastimes. Even so, I couldn't help but remain dumbfounded by the smell of his creepy medicine and the sweet stench that seemed to melt my head. Well, see what happens on that one. Are we entering in another? Well, when the door was closed, it automatically made a clunk. I see. This is the auto lock that's activated whenever the door is closed. And there were only 2 keys that could open this door from the outside, both of which were in this room. In other words, it had become a closed room. The shutter, the receipt, the chain, and now the auto lock. This 4th door had the most magnificent lock yet, and this was doubtlessly a closed room. Regardless of the windows, of course. Just to make absolutely sure that the room was secure, we checked all over for ways in or out. The window was tightly... window was tightly locked. That should have been enough, but just in case, we tried knocking all over the walls. Wait, if the window was locked, I thought Kinzo would be forced out of the window. I don't know. We tried knocking all over the walls. After all, we had talked about there being a hidden door in this room, but we couldn't find anything suspicious. Grandfather's study was very large. Even though we called it a study, it wasn't really a single room. It could be divided up into 4 basic sections. A study section, a bedroom section, a toilet/bathroom section, and a section for cooking that had a sink. I see. This study really does have enough in it to live in. Now I see how grandfather could live his whole life in this room without ever leaving. It seemed grandfather wasn't in the habit of watching TV because there was no television or even a radio in this room. We can't do anything except pass the time listening to the sound of the rain until tomorrow morning. Dr. Nanjo looked closely at the chessboard that sat on the table in front of the sofa and muttered. It was apparently the partially finished chess match he'd been playing with grandfather until yesterday. The black had the white pretty well cornered, and it looked like checkmate would be reached within a few moves, the last part of the endgame. Even though checkmate had almost been reached, the endgame had been rushed, and in the end was never completed.
Kinzo さん、やはりこの勝負は決着がつきませんでしたな。南條先生、わしは長く金蔵さんの友人だったが、金蔵さんのことを知っているのは半分だけでしかなかった。金蔵さんにはいつも聡明な金蔵さんと何かの狂気にとらわれた金蔵さんの2人が同居していたように思う。わしは金蔵さんのことを何も理解してはおらんかった。
Kinzo sure is an interesting guy.
特にベアトリーチェ様のことになると人が変わったようでしたっけね。
In the direction of Kumasawa-san's upward gaze, a portrait of Beatrice could be seen. It wasn't massive like the one hanging in the entrance hall, but small, made for this room. Grandfather probably spent every day in this room, and so much of his time, talking to the witch in that portrait. Who was Beatrice to grandfather in the first place? Right now, you couldn't just explain it away by saying it was a story made by the parents to frighten children away from wandering into the forest. While eating the canned food we brought from the kitchen, we talked together about who Beatrice was. Whether the culprit was Beatrice herself or someone pretending to be her. Whether they were a witch or a human. That was besides the point. The woman in this portrait was strongly related to the roots and background of this case. You couldn't talk about this case without talking about her.
そうだ。母さん、エヴァおばさんたちの部屋で犯人の手紙を拾ったんでしょ？
ええ。まだ開けていませんでしたね。開けてみましょう。
Alright, let's find out. Ann Natsuki took out that western envelope. Genji-san pulled a paper knife out of a drawer in the study desk and handed it to her. While watching her open it, George Aniki grimaced slightly. After all, it was a letter left at the site where his parents had been murdered. There was a good chance its contents would say something unbearable to Aniki. Aunt Natsuki also seemed to realize that, so she glanced over the contents first, without reading it aloud. We were a little frightened that she might grimace after reading something shocking, but she just frowned unhappily.
内容は何と？
That's what I want to find out as well.
不愉快な一文があります。私たちを挑発するつもりなのでしょう。
Well, let's get Maria to read it. Natsuki, after deciding that the contents could be shown to the children, set it openly on the table. Everyone stared at it at the same time.
我が名をたたえよ。
Praise my name.
なんだよこれ。
Oh, I heard a noise. Is this from Tips? Oh, letter from the witch too. Okay, so we have Inari and the Kitsune, which was already read and such. All right, let's read this before they decide to read that. Praise my name. I'm pretty sure if I read most of it, it's gonna fill it out automatically. What the hell?
うっせえぜ。
You, that's annoying? You didn't even get a chance to read the entire thing. What the fuck are you on about?
ベアトリーチェの勝ち名乗りみたいなものだろうね。
She is taunting.
くそ。
The way to provoke the remaining 8. No words.
大方また怪しげな魔法陣でも出てくるのを期待してたんだろう。
魔法陣ではなかったけどね。想像は裏切られなかったよ。
どういう意味でしょう。自分の存在を誇示したいのでしょうか。
そう考えるのが妥当でしょう。この手紙で初めて私たちは昨夜の手紙の主が犯人であると理解できる。ここに書かれている内容よりも昨夜と同じ封筒でというところに意味があるものと思います。
封筒も風浪も間違いなく親方様が使われていたものです。
おお、もう私には何が何だか分かりませんよ。
I don't know what's going on either, so
こんなことは後宮のお家にお仕えして以来初めてのことです。
昨日の手紙の言う通りならベアトリーチェは自称じい様の最古の腹心だ。じい様も常々そう口にしてたんですよね。
I spoke to Genji-san and Kumasawa-san, who nodded together.
ってことはじい様の次に詳しいのは源氏さんと熊沢さんってことになる。話してくれないっすか。
私は長いことわざと耳にしなかった話です。ですがこの後に及んではそうも言っていられません。源氏、知っている限りを話しなさい。
No words from Genji. Like he really tried hard not to spill the beans. Genji-san didn't answer. Did he remain silent despite his knowledge, or did he know nothing at all? Still, I had a good guess. The ghost story of the witch Beatrice had long been defied among the servants. He had probably been very close to grandfather in his occult hobbies. I don't know if I would ask that previous were right, but oh well. In his occult hobbies. So there was a good chance that he'd been indoctrinated with even weirder things, and had increasingly come to defy the witch. As grandfather's most trusted servant who had sworn loyalty to him, he might be the most influenced by the illusion of the witch that grandfather had created. So there was only one reason for Genji-san to remain silent. He could speak, but it would definitely cause a backlash, so it was better if he kept his mouth shut, and it wasn't like we'd believe him anyway. Something along those lines. A short while ago, Maria had been more than willing to speak bluntly and unrestrainedly, and that had earned her a scuffle with Jessica. It was natural for Genji-san to keep his silence. What a scuffle.
お父様の愛人ですか。
Concubine. his concubine. That could be possible. For ordinary poor people, polygamy isn't only viewed negatively from a moral perspective, it's also an unmaintainable financial situation. But that isn't the case for the very rich. It's possible for them to have another lover in addition to their real wife. We can't deny the possibility that grandfather had another woman in his life besides grandmother.
かもな。ばあ様は生きてた頃、よく疑ってたらしいぜ。浮気相手がいるってな。
What a polygamy.
私はてっきりそれは、じい様の想像の中の魔女のことを指してるんだとばかり思ってたんだが。
Who the fuck is Kinzo's real wife, though?
そりゃなんとも面白い話になってきたぜ。源氏さんは俺に言ったよな。ベアトリーチェはこの屋敷ができる以前からじい様に仕えてたって。
お屋敷が竣工したのは昭和27年と聞いています。
God damn, dude. Over 3 fucking decades.
ってことはベアトリーチェという人は30年以上も昔からおじい様と連れ添っていたということになるね。
その30年前の愛人、もしくはその縁者や隠し子が何かの恨みがあって何らかの復讐を企んだか。なるほど。洋館ミステリーっぽいありがちなストーリーになってきたじゃねえか。
What if there's another person or the sword that serves Kinzo also has a grudge? They're planning revenge on the entire family. Oh boy. I wonder who the character will be later on, you know? Oh man.
汚らわしい話ですが、一番納得できる筋書きです。どうですか、源氏。
No words.
おそらく親方様に恋愛の感情は終わりになられたでしょう。
Deep love. Oh my.
亡くなられた奥様より愛しておられたに違いありません。
Talk about that constant worship.
ベアトリーチェってのは何者なんだよ。そして今はどうしてるんだ。
Oh, silence. No words.
お屋敷ができるより前にお亡くなりになったと聞いています。
すでに死んでいる？
はい。親方様は大層深く悲しまれ、ベアトリーチェ様をよみがえらせる方法として黒魔術に傾倒なさっていったのです。親方様はベアトリーチェ様を心の底から愛しておられたのです。このような狂気に駆り立てるほどに。
Is that what Beatrice supposedly be? The grandmother? I don't know, man. I was like, I was trying, like, I'm paying attention to dialogue, and I'm like, is the Beatrice related to Kinzo's wife? Then he was trying to like, he was trying his fucking best to like revive her with black magic and shit. Oh man. As Genji-san said this, he spread his arms, as though asking us to look at this room, filled with the signs of grandfather's madness. We were all at a loss for words. Normally, black magic seems like it'd just be creepy, and it's really hard to imagine why someone might be so enraptured by it. Since Kinzo was just an eccentric who had restored the Ushiromiya family amidst his madness, nobody had tried to understand him. The only thing on grandfather's mind had been the loss of a beloved woman, and his inescapable sorrow. Earlier, this room had seemed creepy, but in an instant, it had changed into something we could understand completely. The creepy books, the magic circles, the medicine, all of it. It all existed simply because he wanted to revive the face of a single woman who had left this world over 30 years ago.
一度だけ深く酔われた親方様にベアトリーチェ様のお話を聞かされたことがあります。詳しいことは忘れてしまいましたが、それはもう女の私が聞いて羨むような深い深い愛情でございました。
Oh my, the sense of jealousy.
金蔵さんは後宮家の当主を継いだ時、当時まだ生き残っていた後宮家の長老たちの意向で亡くなった奥さんとの結婚を決められたのです。
つまり後宮家にとって得になる女性との結婚を強制された。
So, he was forced into a marriage with some woman who would benefit the Ushiromiya family?
さようです。金蔵さんはお家復興のためだけに当主に据えられ、全ての重責を背負わされたのです。そんな金蔵さんがどこでどういう経緯でベアトリーチェと知り合ったのかは分かりかねます。
それ以上語るのは無粋だな。
I mean, you just did. Okay, so how many parts I have recorded since you've been like fucking being in denial and all that shit? Oh boy. Hoo boy. That was when grandfather truly fell in love for the first time. Just how deep was his affection for her? That was easy to see just by looking around us. This room was covered with piles upon piles of things having to do with black magic. And grandfather spent every day shut in here, immersed in his research and isolated from the outside world, never regretting 1 minute of it. 1 minute of it. You couldn't help but recognize the depths of grandfather's love for Beatrice. At a loss for words, huh?
私誤解してたよ、ケンジさん。
Oh, now you admitted that you're wrong.
何をでしょうか。
He's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
私、使用人の人たちが魔女を問診するのは、じい様の気持ち悪い黒魔術趣味に感化されてるからじゃないかってずっと思ってきた。
Oh my god.
違ったんだな。
By acting as though Beatrice's soul at least had been restored and existed inside this mansion, they might have hoped to soothe grandfather's heart. With closed eyes and the expression of one remembering something from the distant past, Genji had broken his long silence. in making that confession, he probably felt like he was betraying his one and only master in the most serious way, even though that person was already dead. Beatrice has revived as a witch, and she is in the mansion even now. That was his mantra. He had believed it, had made people believe it, and Genji would take that with him to the grave. This might have been the last service he could offer up to his master. The legend of the witch, the mysterious tale of Rokujima that was still whispered of amongst the servants. Its true nature was a sad lie. No, it was an act of kindness towards grandfather, who had lost the person he loved above all else. Natsuki had a loss of words.
私はお父様の前で魔女を否定する話を何度か口にした覚えがあります。今ならそれがどれだけお父様を傷つけていたかわかります。
It's just one of the words where it's like, well, I told you so. Took you long enough.
今の僕にならわかるよ。シャノンを蘇らせる方法が黒魔術だというなら、僕は今すぐにもこの部屋の次の主となって研究を始めるよ。
George wants to end up like Kinzo, Sasuga. Oh, I see.
兄貴。
Another strand of tears dripped from George's eyes. Maybe his tears were infectious. Tears rose to Jessica's eyes too, and she sniffled.
ベアトリーチェは言っていたよ。もうじき蘇ることができる。会うことができるって。
Very soon, the door to the Golden Land will be opened. In the promised land that glitters gold, the souls of all the dead will be resurrected, along with the love that has been lost. Then I will sleep in a world of peacefulness for all times, for all time.
そう言ったのか。マリアに手紙を渡したベアトリーチェは。
信じないよね。
Ah, man. Reasonable.
ここにじいさまがいたならきっと喜んだろうな。もうじきベアトリーチェが蘇ることにさぞや踊り上がって喜んだろうな。なら俺は信じたぜ。じいさまが半生をかけて研究したことで蘇り、愛した女の魂が蘇ったと信じて寿命を全うできるって言うんなら俺も信じたぜ。
バトラー。
一人の女性をずっと愛し続けた気持ちが周りにも伝わり真実となる。それを気遣いと呼べばそれまでだろうけれど、今の僕はあえてそれを魔法と呼んであげたいね。
気遣いじゃないよ。本当に魔法だよ。魔女だよ。やっぱり 誰にもベアトリーチェの姿は見えないんだね。
The magic is real, damn it. Oh my. Some time passed. As we listened to the sound of the rain, we considered what kind of love and madness must have possessed the owner of this room, as he spent half of his life here.
女の私から言えば、お父様の純愛の気持ちも少しは理解したいところですが、それではお母様の立つ瀬がありません。
同感だぜ。浮気は浮気。綺麗事にされちゃかなわねえよな。
それもそうだな。ばあ様が気の毒になっちまうぜ。
それでベアトリーチェとおじい様の間に子供がいたなんて話はある？
Rumors. The keyword Beatrice has been hidden in every corner of this case. Has there been like a tip to this letter? So only say praise my name, and nothing else. Hidden in every corner of this case, so it's natural to suspect some relative of hers.
いえ、そのような話は聞いたことがありません。
仮にいたとしたら、最愛の人の忘れがたみとしてきっと全ての愛情を注ぎ込んだだろうね。それがなく黒魔術に没頭していったなら、子供はいなかったと考えるべきなのかな。
そういえばこんな噂を聞いたことがあるぜ。
A rumor.
知ってるだろ？じい様が福音の家っていう福祉施設に莫大な援助をしてるって話。
Yep. Oh yeah. Holy shit.
よしなさい。それはお父様を冒涜する中傷に過ぎません。
教えてくれよ、夏日おばさん。
Yeah, we wanted to know.
隠し事はなしなのはおばさんもだと思うっすよ。
くだらない話です。お父様はその施設に莫大な援助をし、社会勉強の一環として当家の使用人雇用枠を開放していました。それをお父様に汚らわしい趣味があると吹聴する愚か者がいたというだけの話です。
Surely there's more than five servants. It's not only just five. I'm pretty sure there's more in the past. Come on now.
一時期それが黒魔術の生贄にするためだみたいな噂になってさ。
Human sacrifices.
実際いつもこの部屋で怪しげな実験や儀式を繰り返してたわけで、私も半分は信じてたところがあったぜ。
その福音の家出身の使用人ってのは？
何人かいますが、親族会議中のシフトではシャノンとカノンの2人でした。
To resurrect Beatrice, he brought in servants from an orphanage as human sacrifices?
確かにじい様が使用人として選ぶのはいつもシャノンやカノン君くらいの若い子ばかり。私だってじい様には妙な趣味があるに違いないって信じてたぜ。
ジェシカ、言葉を慎みなさい。
Oh boy. Da, 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 da. When Aunt Natsuki scolded her, the atmosphere instantly went sour and everyone felt quiet. However, something was tugging at the back of my mind. Sacrifices. Sacrifices. Human sacrifices brought over from an orphanage. What is it? Freaky words like sacrifices don't pop up often. Yet, I've seen or heard that word recently. Some part of my memory is tugging at me. Hey, Beatrice, what do you know? Well, I think it's a good time to stop it from here. Right here should be good. So, we'll pick it up for the next part. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll find out more of this, you know, because I think I'm getting more closer, you know. Hopefully Beatrice can show up. Alright, have a good one.